baby. Tamia Lee Talks, baby.
Hi,
Yes.
Diva.
I mean, look at you. You calling me a diva. Look at you.
Okay, you, honey.
You look fabulous, girl.
Thank you. How are you? Same to you. I'm loving it.
I'm good.
Nailed
I'm
it.
good. Thank you. I actually did this myself today because Tanea, she was not having it. She was too booked and busy doing something else. So I was like, let me just throw something together. So thank you.
Cute, cute, cute. Sorry, I had to restart my computer. I just did my hair, and it's. I still got one more
Waves,
color to go.
wave check.
The waves are
Okay.
coming, but I need to kick it. I think I want it white, so I have to do it one more time.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
let me move this out of the way.
But before we start, let me do my introduction for my show. So everyone, welcome back to the Tamia Lee Talks podcast. I'm your host Tamia Lee, and I'm here with the beautiful Tori Wannamaker. How you doing, Tori?
Hello, how are you? Hope everyone's well. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Okay, wait. Before we continue, who I just want to get this correct. Who is Faiza? Is it Faiza Kumani?
Faiza Kumani.
Faiza Kumani. Who is that?
Okay, so that's me as
Okay.
well.
Okay.
When I was in college, I will do op-eds for the Charleston Post and Courier, and
Okay.
because with the climate at the time, and I was in school for elementary education,
Yeah.
I kind of came up with a new name because I didn't want them to know it was me.
Yeah.
So
Okay. But to introduce, thank you for that because I was kind of like, okay, we got
oh,
two names here. What do you want me to introduce you as? But Tori, I'm gonna call you Tori. Is that cool?
absolutely.
Okay. So Tori she identifies herself as an activist, entrepreneur, an educator, and so much more. So I wanted to
Yes.
get you on today to talk to you about being a Black educator. So
Oh,
let's
I love
walk
it.
through how you got there from education. So where'd you go to college and your degrees?
Okay, just degrees. Okay, so when I first went off to college, I was at College of Charleston, and I was there for 2.5, 3 years. As I became uh, myself as a young Black woman, there were things in Charleston that just did not sit well with me at that school. So
Okay.
my mother was very strict about school.
Yes,
So I had
May.
to convince her that I didn't want to attend that school anymore. So, after some going back and forth, she was like, okay, so you have to come up with a plan. So
Okay.
I said, okay, well, I'm going to take a year off and figure out what I want to do. Yeah, that didn't work for her. So what I did was I went to community college for a year in Charleston, and then I moved to North Carolina. I went to North Carolina Wesleyan College. It's a small liberal arts school in Rocky Mount, North Carolina.
Hmm.
Great school, had the best education there. Undergrad is in psychology and sociology. I have two bachelors. My minor is in mathematics and religion. When I graduated, I had no desire to be a teacher. I didn't.
You didn't.
Um,
Okay.
I didn't. My plan, honestly, my plan was I was going to go to law school, and I wanted to be an environmental lawyer. That was my plan. I don't know where it came from. So, and that was just really doing research and trying to figure out how can I make the most money the
Hmm.
quickest.
Hmm.
So, um, applying to law school, getting ready to take the LSAT, and then I had a friend who's a teacher. And he was like, so I know you don't particularly want to be a teacher, but we really, really need a special education teacher at this middle school. And I was like,
Hmm.
I don't know, middle school kids. So
Yeah.
he was like, come visit. So I went to the school for like almost a week. And like fell in love with these kids because I started doing the tutoring program. I was like, okay, guys, so I love math. When young people say they can't stand math, that drives me up the wall. I'm like, how can you not like math?
I'm
This is
sorry, I
something
don't
that you
like
hear
math.
all the time, right?
Mhm.
So I'm like, okay, so how can I make this math fun?
Mhm.
And so I was talking to my mom, which is your aunt, right?
Yes, Aunt May, rest in
She
peace.
rest in peace. She was like, well, won't you just be yourself?
Mhm.
And I'm like, I never thought about that. Let me just be me. So I go in, I do research, and I'm like, all right, so I'm gonna try all these different strategies with the kids, and some things work, some things not so much. Um, but ultimately, just when I saw that light bulb come on with kids, like that was it for me. That was
Mhm.
it. I
Mhm.
knew this was what I'm supposed to do. So I went back, I went through the alternative licensure program, and I was certified as history teacher, AP history teacher, special education teacher. What did I miss? I think middle grade math.
Because you got a lot of degrees under your belt. That's why I
Correct.
had to get the educational background of you,
So,
because I mean you're one of my cousins I look up to on that
right.
education.
That's so sweet. Thank you.
Seriously.
Oh, I love it. I love it. That makes me almost want to cry what I did. My
It makes me it really makes me just thinking about it, the process of going to school and appreciating the education and thinking about how teachers have an effect on kids' lives. So I
absolutely.
wanted to talk to you as a Black educator. How long have you been in education, and where are you? What area of the United States are you in?
Okay. So this is your year as a certified teacher. This is year 15, year 15,
15. Okay.
20 altogether, working with young people through a lot of grassroots organizations.
Mhm.
Education is very important to me, and I
Mhm.
think sometimes you have to go beyond the realm of just being in classes, like being in the school setting. Sometimes I have to go out to the community and teach different things, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, for example, I teach. I used to teach, well, due to COVID now, but I was working with a group of women who were in transition from being incarcerated, but they
Okay.
were parents of my students. So through
Wow.
my organization, I work with them and help them. They passed their GED exam. One is now working with computers,
Mhm.
and there's one is actually a plumber. Like, I really pushed. You don't have to do women's work. You have to do whatever you need to do and whatever you like. So so just in that example for me, um, education is so very important. So yeah, so year 15, I'm a special right now. I'm a special education teacher
Okay.
and math teacher. I'm a math department chairperson, and I'm probably on a trajectory to eventually um, own, run my own school, and
Speak it up.
eventually um,
Speak it up.
create my own school. Like I want a school that just makes you proud of yourself, right?
Yeah.
Just from the goings on today, just seeing a woman that looks like me. Now you are the vice president, right?
Yeah. I know.
We had the experience with the president, but he's a
Yes.
guy. But again, still
It's a
in
woman
family.
now.
But this time around, and that's the feeling I want to give to young people.
Mhm.
The young people that people have given up on, those are the students that I work with.
And you're,
Where I work now,
yeah, get into the area you work
yeah,
now.
okay. So I work in Southeast DC right now,
Ooh.
and yeah, I mean I love it.
I,
It's
I know
interesting.
for people who don't live there or probably have never been in that area, they probably would be like, "Girl, you came from
Girl, what is wrong
Charleston."
with you?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like, are you sure you're from the South with this?
Exactly.
I get that a lot, actually. I do get that a lot. You can't, other than hearing you talk, I know you're from the South, but that's it. Like, I was
Yeah.
like, we're the new South. It's a little different now.
Mm-hmm.
So now I teach in Southeast District of Columbia. It can be it's definitely an interesting place to work.
Yeah, talk about
Um,
that area and the kids.
it is it is I would say the epidemics of the 80s really destroyed the community in lots of ways. Um, this is the last area for gentrification. Um, I think, I don't like the low socioeconomics, but that's where it is right now. And at my school, we have 100% free and reduced lunch. We have 99% uh, of Black children. We
Yeah.
have 98% now, just kidding. And then we have 2% of Hispanic students are English learners, English language learners, because we have a few students that's African, but they said, no, I'm not an EL. EL is an English learner. I'm not an EL. I'm Black, right? So they kind of fit in both categories.
Yeah.
So overall, we have about 700 kids in our school. It's some days are better than others, right? So
Yeah.
sometimes our students experience a lot of trauma. Um, they've suffered educational trauma from being in that area and people not expecting them to do better, so they didn't give them better. They experience trauma through crime, through I
Family
mean,
history.
yeah, it's like a food desert there.
Yeah.
Um, the tip is a typical inner city community, unfortunately, yet in that area. This is why I love it so much. It's because they are proud of where they're from.
Yeah.
It may not be perfect, but
Mm-hmm.
this is where I'm from.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we have great support at our school. At our school, we have um, we have a full service, we have full service daycare for our young adults that have children, and they need to finish school with
Mm-hmm.
rules and regulations. Like they have to take parenting classes, they have to attend class. They have to always attend class. If you need something, you need to let us know. They're very loving. They're older ladies, so they treat them like they're grandchildren. like,
Yeah.
like I'm gonna ask you one more time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna call you teacher, right? It's
Yeah.
like that.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so a lot of our students, we have about 30% special education,
Yeah.
ranging from emotional disabilities to intellectual disabilities to autism. We have that. So yeah,
I wanted to you because you go on and on about your school. I know how passionate you are
absolutely.
about your school. So I wanted to get into a little bit about you when you actually went in to teach special education. What was
Hmm.
that? What did that mean to you, or what was that feeling? Were you nervous, or were you scared that this is going to be a more of a challenge because they
Hmm.
they have other needs than other kids? So can you elaborate on what it was like at first and now and the meaning of that with
Right.
special
So
education?
when I first started, again, I've always worked with young people, just not in the building capacity. So I've worked with students with different disabilities and abilities. So it was difficult at first because I was like a freelance teacher. Then I had to like go into the confines of, what IDA and what things from the LEA, which is the local education agency, like
Mm-hmm.
just follow those types of things with the paperwork. The teaching piece for me, I absolutely enjoy because it's like putting together a beautiful puzzle, because where one most people think they can't do, you just have to
Yeah.
readjust and teach how they need you to teach
Mm-hmm.
for them to do. And
Yeah.
so for me, that's always the end point, right? That's the end game for me. I had an excellent education. I had a very strong family. I had these things.
Yeah.
And so some of my students have them, others do not. So if I'm that one person that tells you every day, I love you, I will be that person every single day for
Yeah.
180 days.
And I and I
So, yeah.
and that is so sweet because I know that they love and appreciate you because sometimes people feel like everyone else is giving up
Mhm.
on them.
Yeah.
And for you to come in every day and just pour in all your love and your time and your support for the kids, it has to mean a lot to them. And then
It
for
means a
you
lot
to
to them. Yeah.
and it
Sorry,
means a
go
lot
ahead.
to you too. But
Yeah.
I know that it has to mean a lot to especially to the parents that you talk to, that
hmm
the incarcerated or the just released
hmm
parents. How did you get into that? What made you say, okay, I want to talk to these parents, I want to reach out to them?
Right. So my second degree is in mental health and marriage and family counseling, and so I
All these
did my
degrees, girl.
I did my externship at a women's facility, and that was always the common theme. Like, I just want to get out. I just want to do right for my family. I have to show these things. I don't even know where to start. Um, and for me, that was so important to me because education is important throughout the entire family, and it could change a whole family's trajectory, whether it's
Yeah,
the mother, whether it's the father, aunts, whomever
you're
is
right.
holding the family down. So that's why that was very important to me. Also, they will be able to help their children when they return, when they go home, and they are back into the parenting thing. um, the way we teach now is difficult, especially with everybody's learning now with this virtual learning and online learning. They're seeing like how much more there is to teaching. And so
Mhm.
I just want them to have the basics so they're able to like really help their children and really feel good about themselves, honestly.
Mhm.
Mhm.
So, do you feel like a lot that's going on in our society, especially with being black in the America that we live in today? Not
Mhm.
saying that the racism or the unjust stuff hasn't been going on, but
Mhm.
how has that affected your children in the school system? How has that affected them and their mindset?
Right. So I think it's that's a multifaceted thing, right? So I do believe that systemic racism has affected every Black and Brown and poor person. But particularly for my students, a lot of it is, again, it's a food desert there. So a lot
Right.
of healthy food places are not there. Um, on every corner, you have what we call here in DC carry out.
Mm-hmm.
They have carry outs, right? And they have like bodegas and corner stores and things of that sort. But um, there's two grocery stores right within, and none of them are in walking distance. So
Oh.
something and just something as simple as that, right?
Mhm.
Having healthy food, having adequate housing. I will say that DC does a really good job of helping families that are homeless. They do a really good job of that. I'll be honest about
Okay.
that. There are lots of programs, community organizations that also help um, in our area.
Mhm.
But that's one major thing that they see. Then another piece is the educational piece. Um, Sometimes you have to fight for things that other students receive in the school district that that my children do not receive
Yeah.
um, as quickly. I'm gonna say it
Mhm.
that way. Um, so there's lots of times where we go above, and many teachers in our building. We reach out to community members. We do dig in our own pockets. We do these things um, to ensure that the students have good experiences, both academically and socially. Because sometimes school is the only safe place that they have.
Very true.
Their days, they're like, oh, you act, sometimes they say things like, oh, you act so childish, you're running through the hallway.
Yeah. Mhm.
Where that would annoy most people, but for me, they're safe. So they can run the hallway and be a 17-year-old kid
Very
just
true.
in that school setting, or a 15-year-old kid for that matter. So yeah, so I think that's how it's definitely affected it um, in those ways. But at the same time, our students are very resilient. So it's not like, it's a sob story.
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
I told them I have lots of knowledge, and they do too, because they taught
Mhm.
me how to get on the metro and the bus. I can get anywhere, DC, Virginia, Maryland, I can get anywhere. And the
Yeah.
kids taught me that. So yeah,
Mhm. Mhm. It's a give and take relationship.
exactly.
So I could tell that you are very emotionally.
Yeah.
attached to these children.
Yeah.
What does that mean to you mentally?
Um, I literally just had this conversation with a colleague the other day.
Hmm.
In the years that I've been there, I've had tragedy with some of my students.
Oh,
Um, for a variety of reasons, car accidents, shootings, interactions with police. There's just different things that has happened. And I think that part is the most emotionally taxing piece of it because I'm nervous every day they walk out of my sight.
yeah,
After the 8 hours we're together, I'm nervous. I watch the news at 6 o'clock. I watch the news at 11 o'clock. Every single day, I'm always on go. That's
yeah.
kind of how we are.
Hmm.
Um, but then we look at the good side when we see them smile when they haven't smiled in weeks, right?
Yeah.
Or we haven't seen them in weeks because sometimes our children get a little missing, and we haven't seen them in weeks, and you show up. I'm just like, oh, I'm so happy to see you. Things
Yeah.
of that sort. Dealing with the parents and getting to know the siblings and the community as a whole. Um, I think we've done a really, really good job of, and this is years before I even got to the school. Let me just say
Hmm.
that.
Okay.
But since I've been there, it's just been a wonderful thing. Yeah.
Hmm. So
Yeah.
to go back over, you teach the math and the
Mhm.
history.
No, only now I only teach math.
Okay,
Hmm.
now you only teach math. Okay. Because
Yes.
I was kind of confused on, you said something about history, then you said something about
Yes.
math.
Yes.
But I just want to go,
Certified.
because
I'm
you got a
certified in
lot of
both.
degrees. I mean, you really do, because I was trying to keep up with everything that you said. But can you get into a little bit how the pandemic has affected your kids? Are you guys in the school, or start
Mm-hmm.
from the beginning in March when it first started?
Okay, so March. We in March we had like a regular day. Then I remember we got an email
Okay.
saying, okay, we're going to shut this, this virus is coming. We're going to shut the school down for 2 weeks and see where we go from there. Okay, fine, no problem. 2 weeks.
Hmm.
And then in the meantime, we'll up spring break and then um we'll start back. By then everything should be good. So we
That's
should
what
be
we
able to get
thought.
back in the building.
Mm-hmm.
Here we are, January
In
20th
2021.
of
A
2021.
whole, almost a whole year.
So yeah, so it was taxing at times because again that our school is a safe place for our students.
Yeah.
So a lot of times it was at first a lot of it was just finding the kids, like ensuring that they had the proper technology, the Wi-Fi, the computers. We provided all of our students with laptops and
Very nice.
hotspots. So every kid has one that
Yeah.
chose to get one.
Mhm.
Um, and then we had to switch our whole curriculum on to virtual, which wasn't that bad for me because I'm an ed techie. I love things like that to help kids learn differently. I don't like to stand there and talk for I don't do that. They may get 10, 15 minutes out of me. And then it's like, all
You
right,
ain't
go to
gonna
the
drag
computer.
it out like these some of these professors in
Yeah,
college.
absolutely. And that's one of the reasons I was like, I get bored after 20 minutes. I'm just
Yes.
like, all right. So, that was a difficult piece for us,
Hmm.
um, for our students. Overall, they've done well. They have shifted. Of course, they took an extra little few days off when they realized they wasn't coming back in the building. They said, well, let's get one more spring break
Ooh,
in. So we had to call parents and say, hey,
let me
can
draw
we
this out.
exactly. So just that part was very difficult for teachers.
Mhm.
Having those connections that we have with our students, it was very difficult for us to transition to only virtual. You can't see them. You can't, you know, do that. Let me talk to you really quick. Come here for a minute. You can't really do that
You can't get
virtually. And
them
they're
in
just like,
line.
yeah. So they're just like, proximity doesn't work virtually. So just really just getting the kids in that mindset. And I think maybe by late April, maybe early May, they're like, we're not going back in the building this year. I was just like, I don't know what to tell you. And
Hmm.
then they made a decision like, oh, we're going to be virtual for the rest of the year.
Hmm.
So
But I'm glad.
again, it was difficult, but you know.
I'm glad to hear that they're doing well, because especially for everybody, I know that for me, a person who doesn't struggle with a special need, it was a challenge for me,
Mhm.
and I'm a senior in college. So for
Correct.
other kids and for parents, it affected the parents just as much as the kids did.
You
So
sure
that's why
did.
I wanted to talk about a little bit about the strategies that you wanted to talk about for
Mhm.
emotional learning in the pandemic.
Oh yeah. So social emotional learning is something that we used to call a hidden curriculum back in the
Okay.
day. Back in the day when I first started teaching, but now it's like social emotional learning, right? What can we do with the whole child? So with um, I'm currently working on my doctorate.
Oh, girl.
I'm currently working on my doctorate, and that's
Dr.
kind of
Tora.
my thing. Yes, Dr. Tori, absolutely. So that's my thing, right? Social emotional learning, like that goes back to Maslow's hierarchy of needs. If the physical and is not met and the emotional is not met, they're not the learning, the self actualization, and all that is not going to happen
Mhm.
because or it happens very slowly. So we have to be very conscientious of how we say things virtually, what things are you losing connection with students. So, for example, we do things like we have circles, right? We call them restorative circles or community
Mhm.
circles, where we
Mhm.
get together and just kind of have a topic and kind of talk around a topic. This stems from African tradition in West Africa, where is a
Okay.
person will sit in the middle and everybody will say great things about it. I'm sure you've
Wow.
seen that the
Mhm.
picture with all the little children with their feet together in a
Yeah.
circle.
Mhm.
That's basically what that is, a community circle. You have to find a way to remain connected. So
Learn something
that's
every day.
something, yeah. So
Yes.
that's something that we definitely do every day, if not every day, every week. We even do it with the teachers, because we're family. We sometimes dysfunctional, yet we're a family. Um, um, and then and then for me, I just kind of took it a step further because a lot of these SEL strategies are for like little kids, like
Okay.
elementary PK up to maybe fifth or sixth grade. Um, More studies are coming out for middle grades and high school, but a lot of it is the same. Like,
Okay.
having structure. There should be structure every single day. In a situation like a pandemic like this, it is most beneficial for students and for people to have a daily schedule because that is the one time that that no matter what's going on crazy in the world, I
Yeah.
know at 11 o'clock I do this. I know at 11:30 I do this.
Mhm. And
So that goes to you all as well because it's difficult when you can't separate.
Mhm.
You can't separate home and work. Like I struggle with this all the time. Like I'm in one space, like I'm in my makeup room right now, but I'm in one space when I'm working, and then
Uh-huh.
I'll go downstairs and I'm like, oh, I'm in a different place. But
Yeah.
then,
For
almost a
me,
year later.
I would have to admit, for me, I was at some point I would get up, do my hygiene, and then lay back in the bed and be on class. And then, eventually that didn't work out and I had to like change. But,
Mm-hmm,
I think that for me, structure is important.
mm-hmm,
So
mm-hmm.
strategies that help with online learning, you got any more?
Yes,
Because
yes, I got
we need it.
strategies for online learning. Another thing you could do, they have like online screen recording apps that are free, like
Okay.
Screencastify, and they're like Google has one. I'm sure Apple has one. I can't remember what it is off the top of my head, but that's another way that you can, if you're not feeling it. For example, with you like I don't want to do this today, right?
Yeah.
Yet, and you're not an active learner. You're just there, kind of
Okay.
thing. You can hit record on that like program and then record it and then go back and actually listen and learn because again just because we're there doesn't always mean that we're learning.
Right. Right.
Another strategy I always suggest to people, from my students on, I suggest to literally write out your notes or write out thoughts because I do a lot of stop and jots, and that's just like literally just take a minute and just jot everything you can think of,
Mhm.
that we just talked about. Or
Mhm.
sometimes it's just like, because some days they do things and they're just like, we don't know what in the world we just did. So tell
Mhm.
me what you know. And they start talking, no, I want you to write it. And when you can't see it, doesn't matter because, if you hear it, you see it, you write it, you have a tendency to remember it, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
So that's another strategy that I use. Also have a start and stop point. This is difficult for me, right?
Okay.
This is my thing that I have to get on myself about
Mhm.
because I'll get online at maybe 6 or 7, and I'm online till 9 at night. I take a break, walk the dog, and
Me
then
as a
come back like
student, I would have been drowned you.
right,
Not like, like,
like
whoa,
later.
whoa, professor, slow it
Right,
down.
right, right. So like those are just things that I have to do, and for me, another strategy for young people, I feel, I believe in meditation, and I'm not talking about the meditation that you may see on TV or something to that effect. Just literally just taking
Mhm.
a minute because
Just breathing.
y'all young people are inundated with so much. You have social media, you have the demands of
Yeah.
school, you have the demands of family, you have the demands of your friends or your peers, right?
Mhm.
And then you all are trying to navigate this.
Yeah.
This is different. Your 20s and my 20s, not same.
Not the
Similar,
same.
but not the same.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, so I always suggest take a minute. And if it's just you close the computer, put your phone down, face down, on silent so you can't hear it buzzing. And then just take 5 minutes and think of a place or have your picture and just kind of go there. For me, my thing is the beach. I love the beach, right?
Ooh.
So that's what I think of. I think of Jamaica, Turks and Caicos, and stuff like
Okay. Because that's all I be thinking about. Okay. How
that. So just
I'm
take a
in need of
minute,
this vacation.
right? Just take a minute, and you have to really almost recenter yourself because
Mhm.
otherwise you will be on a rat race all of the time, just constantly going, and that wears you down. I don't care how old or how young you are, that still will weigh heavy. Um, And I also feel that there are not enough supports for what I call 916. That's high school and college. I call it
Okay.
9 through 16 grades, grades 9 through 16. Um, Especially you guys is your freshman year in college, for example. Your freshman year and your junior year are two completely different things. Your
Totally
freshman year, you're
different.
trying to figure it out how to be a college student. Your
Mhm.
junior year is, oh my God, how am I going to be an adult? Your junior,
I'm
senior year.
leaving.
Okay, what's my next step? What am I going to do? I'm leaving the nest,
Yes.
right? And I don't think there's enough support in that.
Guidance.
I think this is the areas where I do believe in having mentors. Um, Mentors that are on the same path as you. Because a mentor that's taking philosophy and you're in chemistry
They don't
is
go together.
similar, but it's not the same. It's not
Mhm.
the same.
Mhm.
Teach me these strategies, these new strategies I need to do to be able to be successful in this class. So I just think that's definitely something that's missing um, in higher education,
Yeah.
secondary education and higher education. Yeah,
Mhm.
it's you'll say, oh, I have an advisor, but they have 20, 30, sometimes 100 advisees. What are they really
Mhm.
gonna tell you, right?
Exact. And I think that's a good tip to that you said because
Yeah,
I would say just to, I don't mean to go a little bit into me, but when I started
no,
as a
it's fine.
freshman, I had a advisor that was just not for me. Like she didn't
Correct.
guide me anywhere. And then I
Hmm.
got to the point of now I'm a junior. Well, now I'm a senior, but I got to my junior year and I started thinking about, okay, I'm almost done. Like, what am I supposed to be doing? So then now I'm a senior and I'm glad I found my passion with the podcast, but I
Hmm.
just felt like, when you are in that leadership role of being a guidance counselor, of being a mentor, it's important to really help people, because even us in college, we don't got all the answers.
Oh, I get it. I totally I totally get it.
Mhm.
And that's, and I think that's the big thing, and that's where my organization basically, that's what Somewhere to Blossom. That's kind of where
Wait,
I
drop
try
the name
to.
of the organization.
Oh, I'm
I
so
meant to ask
sorry
you
again.
that.
My organization is Somewhere to Blossom.
Okay.
Again, it's an educational consultant um, company, and I work with a variety of clients. Right, I have clients who, with me being a special education teacher, what are some strategies can I that I can do for my child virtually? Like, what are some websites? What are some things can I do that's mostly elementary, school age children. High
Mhm.
school wise, it's more of, okay, so I have no idea how to do algebra 2. I don't know what to do to help this child get ready for this SAT. Um, so for me, it's, I don't necessarily sit with the child. I'm like a connector, right?
Okay.
I'm a liaison between lots of people.
Do you offer
Um,
online program?
I do. I
Okay.
do. I have an online program. I'm actually restructuring the website is being restructured right now
Okay.
because the demand was a lot better, a lot more than I thought it was going to be.
Mhm.
Um, because it's definitely it's something that's very affordable. As well as I try to make sure I don't know everything, but I can find whomever. It's like, what is that? Sorry. I can find whomever to help you with whatever you need, right?
Yeah.
Um, so um, so that's kind of where I am with that. I've had this organization for a while,
Uh-huh.
for years. When I was in North Carolina, I worked with kids with special needs. I did a summer camp with them to
Okay.
prepare them for the next school year. Um, and then I just, I got into school and all this other stuff. And now I'm kind of settling back down. And I see the need very much, even with kids going back in the building, you're still going to need that support.
Mm.
And for college level students, it's the same thing. I try to um, connect you with whomever you need. Like I try. What school are you? Where are you in school? Okay, thank you. So I'll go online and I'll start looking. I'll start calling, contacting people in the area,
Uh-huh.
um, and work with different organizations. Say, hey, I have this young lady. She really wants to stay in school, but she's tired. I just really need you to just talk with her and just spend a little time with her, him or her, um, or them.
Yeah.
I'm going to be inclusive. Sorry,
Pronouns.
or them. And so yeah, so that's pretty much what I do. I also like to work with families. Um, I have this thing for dads because a lot of times dads have no clue,
No.
and lots of things that we have in society is not for dad. They don't
No,
have
it's
them
not.
geared towards men, and I know with my dad, my parents were divorced, but my dad tried.
Yeah.
I'm like, Daddy, what are you talking about? But he would
Yeah.
try. Bless his
Uh-huh.
heart. He would try.
Yeah.
Especially young dads. With them sometimes just getting or in college or just out of high school or whatever, they're just like, what am I supposed to do? Um, I can't teach you how to be a father, but I can help you, you know, help your child build their self-esteem and their self-worth, right?
Mhm.
I can't help you with that part. So it's just like I merge special education, I merge the counseling piece, and then just
Families.
being a Black woman,
Mhm. So
that
is
piece.
your
So,
is your program what inspired you to want to start your own school? Let's talk a little bit about that.
hmm,
You
start
wanted
my
to start,
own
you
school.
told me a long time ago you wanted to start your own school. So what
Mhm,
does this
mhm,
school look like? Do you have a name? Do you have an
mm.
idea?
So,
Where?
name, not so much.
Okay.
Not so much the name. However, I do want it to be social emotionally, social emotional learning, education based.
Okay.
I would prefer, and I have a really, my best friend, she's actually the director of the theater department at Baltimore School of the Arts. And
Ooh,
and
I'll be
she,
calling you.
and we've had this conversation so many times because neither of us thought we would be in education, but we're both here. And so, for me, I think I'm looking for a space for, again, that students or young people, it would be my preference to be high school. It's kind of
Okay.
my preference,
Okay.
because that's my experience. I know high school kids as far as like things they need to be successful. But I definitely would like to work with the students that are like, basically homeless. Um,
Okay.
I would like it to be, I'm so
It's okay.
sorry. So overall, I want it to be like a safe haven, right?
Okay.
So it's a place almost, if I had my way, it would be a boarding school.
Okay.
Um, for them to learn how to make it in society. So they would get the educational piece. They would get, well, we used to call it home economics. Now they call it, family consumer science. I think that's what they call it.
Okay.
Like learning how to cook, learning
Uh-huh.
how to basic cooking because I can't cook either. I do enough for what I
Not.
like to,
You could do something.
for what I like to eat. Wrap it in foil, put it in the oven. So, then make a salad. Boom, I'm done. Things like, how to survive on your own, like living independent living.
Okay.
Um, not even necessarily balancing a checkbook, but understanding budgeting, understanding what is required to own a car. Those types of skills.
The basic
And then
needs. Those are great
basic
ideas.
needs, exactly.
Mhm.
And then also honestly build on a college or career plan.
Yeah.
um, I'm a proponent of college, of course, because I've gone to college and you know me, and so
Yeah.
I'm going to push. But
Push.
in the years past, I have realized that
It's
there's so
not for
many ways
everybody.
to be successful. Exactly. And
Yeah.
so, I literally called my HVAC guy last week, and he was like, "Oh, it's an emergency. Oh, that's $400. $400. I might be cold, but something like that. So just kind of look and see where they want to go, and then like, what do you like to do? Because a lot of times young people don't know what they like to do. They just say, "Oh, I
Yeah.
want to go to college and do what? I want to be a doctor."
What's your plan after?
You can't pass algebra one. How you gonna get to college? What's your plan? How do
Stop.
you get into college? Like, I'm laughing, but these are serious questions. Like, oh, I'm gonna be a doctor. Okay, that requires to like deal with blood, right? Really? Like,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, it does. So something as simple as like really going through and learning what you like to do. And you don't have to exactly know exactly what you want to do, but um, like I fell into teaching, which I feel, I feel the stars aligned for me to go do what I'm supposed to do,
Hmm.
but that was not my original plan.
Yeah.
And then when I didn't have a plan, when my plan wasn't going through, I was freaking out. I was like, "Oh my God, what am I going to do?"
Hmm.
And my mom she wasn't trying. She was not trying to hear it. She was like, "Okay, I don't know what you're going to do, but you're
But
going to
you
be
gonna do
productive,
something.
and you had better figure it out in
Hmm.
90 days," type thing. So, just give them an opportunity and place for them to feel safe.
Hmm.
Um,
Do you?
I would provide counseling and things like that, for students, for young people. And I honestly would keep it to students of 21 or 2021, something like that.
Hmm.
Almost like a transition home, because I've noticed as students, young people get older, and then, like, if, for instance, if they're in, foster care, sometimes when they turn 18,
They don't got no place to go.
they don't have anywhere to go. And I know I would have to deal with behaviors. I know all of this stuff. I get it. I get all of that. But
Hmm.
when young people are taught a different way, it's easier to repair young people than it is to repair an adult. That's very difficult.
So, do you feel as though you have somebody that was kind of like that blueprint, or someone you looked up to as an educator, somebody that made you be like, okay, I want to be like them when I taught, or no?
Interestingly enough,
Okay.
not really. For me, I think when I started teaching, um, I wanted to be the complete opposite of the one teacher that tried to derail me, basically. 'Cause she didn't like it. She didn't like the fact that I was very um,
Outspoken.
bold and vocal, and no, that doesn't make any sense, and no, you're wrong.
Challenging.
Could have gone by it a little differently. But see, where I went to school, it was um, a majority white school, and we're in the country. We're in the country, so a lot of people were used to people just saying yes, ma'am, and following along, and that's just not me. Not the type of person. My mom wasn't that type of person. My dad wasn't. But my older brother, who is the sweetest person in the world,
Yep.
we are complete opposite. Total
Shout
opposite.
out Willie. Take
Shout
us.
out to Will. He was a good kid, right? He was a really good kid. Very, very smart, do well in school. Did well in school. Here I come 4 years later, the little, middle kid, typical middle kid, I guess you could say.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was also the generation
Wait. So
that
what does Willie do again? For those who may not know what Willie does.
oh my, yeah, he is the director of chemistry labs at Clemson University. That's my older
So
brother.
that's a. He's
Yes, he
smart.
does. He's very smart.
Cause
And
science and
then,
math.
yes, I love it. And my younger brother Chad is a nurse. He's a traveling nurse.
Yes. He's gonna
So
be on here too. Author.
yeah, yeah,
Let's put
author.
that
He's
out
an
there.
author. Yes, 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 he is. He's an author. Shout out to you too, Chad. He's like my sister, I tell you. And I didn't say baby brother this time. I don't think I did.
He's gonna watch this.
He won't be surprised. Younger brother. Sorry, Chad. So I and she just I would I remember when I would not make an A in her class, I would go home and study so hard and do it again and again. It was a math class. It was geometry.
Okay.
And it was oh yeah, oof, she was the worst. It was an AP geometry class. So and so she was like, you don't get it, you don't understand, you're not like your brother, those types of things. And I would
Ooh.
always say, well, he is a boy, so might be why I'm not like him, get out, get out, Wannamaker. That's when people started calling me Wannamaker. They call me by my last name, and they do to this day. So I decided I didn't want to be that teacher. I wanted to be a teacher that young people could look up to. Like I'm very particular about how I look when I go to work. I'm very particular about how
you gotta. You gotta train up a child. I really do believe in that.
And they say it all the time. Like it's so funny because sometimes where if we have dress down days, and I got my jeans, my sneakers. They were like, and is anybody surprised you got on a pair of Jordans that match? This match, that matches. And it's like, and then she trusts to have makeup on. I'm like, well, yeah. And then I just, as they say, she's dressed in urban. They're like, we didn't know you had it in you. It's like, thanks, guys. Thanks. I was like, that's validation. Yes. Especially, being old, I'm 44 years old. So as soon as
you look good, girl.
You 44? I'm like, yeah, my mama don't look like you. I was like, send her to me. I can make it look like me. Don't worry about it. Send it to me. So, I make it my business to show them the code switching, show them how to be successful in all areas.
Yeah.
And how you maneuver, because that's what you have to do in America. Like, that's what you have to do.
So do you feel as though you manifest anything in your life?
What do I manifest in my life?
Because I'm a big person on manifestation, and that's usually how I found my show on that. I wrap it up with that. I got to talk about manifestation. So what do you manifest in your life? Where do you see yourself in? I guess let's put it in. Where do you see yourself in 3 to 5 years?
Yes.
Typical question, but you gotta. I believe you gotta speak it.
I agree. So in 3 years, hopefully I'll be done with this doctorate, or it's going to take me down, but it's going
Where
to
you
take me down,
going?
but I'm going to get it. I'm at American College of Education.
Okay.
It's alternative program that's made by teachers for teachers. I will be getting an EDD in leadership,
Okay.
with the concentration in curriculum and instruction, because that's a big deal to me. So that's one thing that I will be done with.
Okay.
The next piece is if I really see myself doing a TED Talk, but I see that with
Okay.
before 3 years. A total TED Talk on being a Black woman, being an educator in this environment right now, and just in general, dealing with the multi pieces of just being me.
Mm-hmm.
And I do see the framework of opening my school, opening my program.
Yes.
Yep, that's
I'm
what I
so
see.
excited for you. And
Oh my, I'm so
I
excited.
I think that it was good talking to you because especially I love to show off Black excellence.
Hmm.
And this is the time that we are living in where people are doing the things that they love, becoming entrepreneurs and things
Absolutely.
of that sort. So I feel
Mhm.
as though also with the pandemic, the strategies that you gave my show, they are helpful. They will be useful to people because some people just want to pull their hair off their head
Yeah.
being at home with their children. So
Yes.
I thank you for coming
Yes.
on, Tori.
Absolutely. No, I
See?
thank you for having me. It's
No
wonderful. I
problem.
appreciate it. And I am so over the moon proud of you. I'm proud of you. I love you.
Thank
Um,
you.
when you were, yeah, I just remember when you were a little one taking pictures.
Yeah, I love pictures.
Smile, Tori. Look, I have a new camera. So, and I just love to see it. You're a wonderful young woman,
Thank
wonderful young woman.
you.
And
Thank you. Thank
shout
you.
out to
Thank
your
you.
mama, my cousin, my birthday twin.
Yes, shout out to
Um,
Wanda Porterfield Muslim. Go
Wonderful.
ahead,
Yes,
girl.
I appreciate y'all. And
Mhm.
dad as well, and your siblings. I love everybody, but
Shout
I'm
out my
very, very
dad.
proud of you all. I
Mhm.
am.
Thank you. Thank you. But
You're
I
welcome.
gotta do this because I do it for everybody else. Give
Mm-hmm.
me 3 words. Actually, I said 3 to 5. 3 words to
Okay.
describe Tora Wannamaker.
Oh,
It always
mm.
catches people up. It always does.
Because you said three. I would say fashionable.
Yes. Look at that
That's
hat,
one.
girl.
Um, Empathetic is a good one.
Okay.
Yeah. And a motivator.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
like that last one. Because you really are motivating. You motivate me a lot. And I
Oh,
love
it's so
you.
sweet. I love you
And
too.
I
I love
miss
y'all.
you.
I miss you too.
Oh my God. I hate that we have to be virtual, but
I know. But I'm glad to
and
see you.
I know. In due time, we'll be back together
Yes.
and we're going to
Yes,
go on
ma'am.
Black Lives Matter Plaza
Yes.
with our new
Yes, y'all.
president.
Absolutely. President, vice president, whenever y'all ready,
Yep.
just let me know.
All
It's
right.
just a train ride away. Come on.
I'm going to come on down.
I love you, honey.
All right. I love you
And thank
too.
you again. Thank
No
you again.
problem.
All right.
All right. See you later.
Bye bye.
Tamia Lee Talks, baby.